Hi, guys, and welcome to Healing with Wisdom podcast, where every week we discuss modern and ancient practical tools to make sense of our lives and break free from the present day chaos. I'm Pepe, and I'm really excited to have you with us for today's episode. Today, we are going to explore Stoicism even further, and we're going to understand how this ancient philosophy can help anyone, especially through tough times, live a more tranquil, meaningful, and enjoyable life, as well as becoming a highly virtuous person that is, according to Stoics, someone with high moral standards. This is the third episode of a series where we are talking about Stoicism and different teachings that can give us and how to apply them to the modern life. In the previous episode, we explored a little bit about the concept of human nature and also the concept of God and religion from a Stoic perspective. If you're interested and you haven't listened to that episode already, it's the episode number 2 of this series. So just feel free to go back and listen to that one first or after this one. It doesn't really matter. Today, we will explore the idea of developing these so called virtues into your life. And before we start, as always, I would like to remind you that Stoicism is a practical philosophy, meaning that listening about it is going to be helpful, but I do encourage you to put everything that you are going to learn in this series of podcasts into practice to really make the best out of it. Because I can go on and on about talking about Stoicism, and you could go on and on listening to me, but if you don't put it into practice, it's not going to make any difference in your life. And I'm not saying you're wasting your time, but yeah, just put it into practice. So, what does virtue mean from a Stoic perspective? So, throughout history, many philosophies have tried to understand the fabric of human existence. They were trying to addressing questions of morality, virtue, and the purpose of life. When I say philosophy, in this case, I'm also including religions. Stoicism, for me, is among the most influential of these philosophical traditions because it offers a quite unique insight into understanding the the most important virtues that guide our lives. So, if we take a closer examination of Stoicism, we can make sense of the interconnection between all the human values across different cultures, across time as well, and different philosophies and religions. So, according to Stoicism, what is the definition of the word virtue? From a Stoic perspective, virtue is the highest good and is the foundation for living a fulfilling and meaningful life. Without virtue, you cannot simply be happy, in other words. The Stoics believed that virtue is the only good and immoral behavior is the true evil. So, according to Stoicism, there is a basic set of virtues that form the understructure of moral existence, basically for humans. These virtues are practical wisdom, which is the ability to judge certain situation correctly according to your knowledge and your understanding of it. Then we go courage, which is not just physical bravery, but also the moral courage to stand up for yourself, for others, and for what is right against any kind of adversity. Then we got justice, which means treating others fairly and equitably. Basically, having compassion towards others. And when I say others, I mean every living being. So, as well as animals and plants, for example. Then we got temperance. Temperance means exercising your self control and restraint, avoiding excesses that don't do well for you, and basically trying to find a balance in all things, whether there is pleasure or other things. And then we have humanity and transcendence, which is basically it stands out not as a conventional virtue. The Stoic conception of humanity recommends basically expanding our fears of compassion, like I was saying before, starting from our immediate family. Our compassion should radiate outwards to encompass friends, acquaintances, fellow humans, and as well as animals and other living beings. Similarly, the virtue of transcendence in Stoicism provides us with a profound sense of perspective, which emphasizes our humble place within the vast expanse of the universe. This perspective, it doesn't serve only as humbling our experiences, but as a reminder to constantly reflect on the bigger picture beyond our daily lives. In other words, it brings us surrender. It's reminding us our place in this vast universe and our quote unquote size in this vast universe. We are so small, and understanding that we are part of a much bigger universe and divine plan, it brings us surrender. So it's worth noting that there is overlapping between this set of virtues, of course. For example, the Stoic virtues of justice could basically encompass other aspects of humanity as well, because they both relate to kindness and fairness. But the classification and primary focus are distinct. So if we analyze other different philosophies, we can understand that there are similarities of virtues among them. For example, Buddhism or Confucianism, Hinduism, Judaism, a common thread of virtues like courage, justice, wisdom, temperance, it's basically always there, right? Also in Christianism. And this reminds us of the universality of virtues. You know, it's kind of like there is a basic set of virtues that every philosophy is teaching, as if it was embedded in our own genes, in our own beings. Without, even if we are not taught these things, it's like it's within us already. So humanity has always gravitated towards a certain course of principles, whether it is Christian or Judaism or Buddhism or whatever. One very interesting example that I can think of is the similarity between Stoicism and yoga. I'm a yoga practitioner myself, and I'm very passionate about Stoicism as well. And the more I go ahead and find out more about these two philosophies, the more I find out that there is many similarities. We will have a lot more space to talk about yoga in future episodes, but for the moment, since we are focusing on Stoicism, what I like to emphasize is that both cultures teach the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. And these four virtues have great importance. In yoga, just like Stoicism, there is a big focus on understanding the self and the universe and the relationship between the two. Basically, understanding yourself and how you relate to the universe around you, right? And this brings us wisdom. It makes us build more strength and perseverance and also courage. Yoga, just like Stoicism, emphasizes kindness, non harming other being, that is also animals and plants, so treating them with respect, which is justice, and finally the importance of controlling and directing your own energies appropriately. So this aligns with the idea of temperance of Stoicism. In addition to this specific virtual alignment, the overall aim of both Stoicism and yoga is an harmonious life and inner peace as well. Stoicism achieves this by understanding and accepting the natural order of things, whereas yoga achieves this by attempting a union between your mind, body, and spirit. All right. So both Stoicism and yoga offer us pathways to contentment, peace, and enlightenment, by focus on personal disciplines. That always comes down, it distills down to that in both Stoicism and yoga and in a lot more philosophies. Personal discipline is a very important thing to have, no matter what kind of philosophy or culture or religion you are into. Okay, without that, you won't be able to put into practice whatever virtues and teachings your favorite religion or philosophy is trying to teach you, basically. So personal discipline is something you should always focus on, and we will have more time to talk about it in later episodes too. So coming back to Stoicism, we can, like, with these similarities between Stoicism and yoga is just an example. It could be a similarity between yoga and Buddhism or Stoicism and Buddhism. What I'm trying to explain here is that there is a set of virtues that is common to many different philosophies, as if this set of virtues was embedded in our own genes. And it's not that we don't have to be taught that, but it's kind of like common among all cultures. So it's kind of like embedded in our own soul, in our own beings. And this set of virtues is, taught obviously always in Stoicism as well. And for Stoicism, this set of virtues are practical wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. And then we have two more, which are humanity and transcendence, just to quickly recap. If you're finding this information valuable, make sure you spread the word around further with friends and family that might find this valuable as well. By commenting, liking, and sharing our podcast, you not only support us, but you are also spreading knowledge to others, and you take part in changing their lives a little bit as well. That's some pretty good karma there. So don't forget to subscribe and ensure you don't miss out on future talks. This is the best way to support the podcast by far, so that we can invest more money in it and give you a better experience. If you're listening to this podcast on a podcast platform and you would rather watch the video instead, check out the link in the description for our YouTube channel, Healing with Wisdom. So, as we continue talking about virtues, who is in your early life that teaches you these virtues first? It's your role model, right? So we all have a role model. When we grow up, when we are kids, we are very young, our role models are obviously our parents. And then as we grow older and older, we pass that teenagehood phase and we become adults. We can obviously keep our parents as a role model. We can also choose other role models. We have multiple role models that can be like teachers or peers, historical figures, or whatever. So all these role models around us, they can teach us something. Other people can teach us something, especially these values that I was just talking about. If we were to make an example of, for me, what is a very good role model in someone that everyone can relate to, and just to basically conclude today's episode and make sense of it as well, I would say I will take into the consideration, for example, the Hollywood actor Kenny Reeves. Just for an example, there's many role models that I personally have. Kenny Reeves is one of them. It's just the one that I could find that most people can probably relate to. So he's not only known for Matrix, obviously, like everyone knows Kenny Reeves for the movie Matrix. If you haven't watched the movie, please watch it. It's very open-minded movie. Um, but also, it's known for his character. Basically, he's an example for everyone. And I try to get deep into his life to understand and put on paper basically how he was able to, in my opinion, teach us something about every single virtue that we talked about before. So, for example, when it comes to practical wisdom, right? Kenny Reeves faced immense personal losses, right? So he lost a close friends. he lost his daughter, and instead of just being, I'm sure he's been sad about it, but instead of just falling to depression like many other people do, he's given to other people talks about the impermanence of life and the value of cherishing moments and relationships as well. He gave us a lot of insights on life, on loss of other people, on gratitude, especially the gratitude of having beloved people around us. And he has a deep understanding of practical wisdom, really. What he does, I feel like he really resonates with Stoic virtues. We will have more time to speak about the concept of death and how the Stoics face this problem in future episodes. But for the moment, that's just. And by the way, we will also have more time in the future episodes to talk about death from a Stoic perspective. So then we go courage. Kenny Reeves has shown to be a very courageous person. Even though he was, a great, he still is a great Hollywood star. He's always been an authentic person, even if it meant breaking away from the norm. He never really behaved like any other Hollywood star, really. He's chosen roles that resonates with him rather than just signing up for any role that would give him money, essentially. His choices reflect courage. You need a lot of courage to be up there, to be so famous, and to be recognized for such talent. And you need a lot of talent to not fall into the trap of wanting money and paying the price of not being your authentic self. Even if it's just a movie, he always chosen movies in which he could resonate not only as a person, but he felt he could teach something to the public. So he's not your classic, do it all actor, basically. Then we got justice. Some stories of Kenyus, they really reflect his kindness and generosity for other people. He gifted stuntmen's a motorcycle. I read on an article quite recently. He funds children hospital. He acts justly, and often he doesn't even seek attention. You know how many famous people today, um, when they give something, they do their best to tell to others in their social media, which is fine because that if you show other people that you're doing something good, probably other people are also going to follow you. But if you do it just so other people can tell, oh wow, you're a really good person, that's fantastic, or for the likes, then it loses its essence. It's fine to do it, it's better than not to, but you should do it without expecting anything in exchange. So that's what Kenny Reeves does as well. He gives without giving anything in exchange. It's said that during the filming of The Matrix, he gave away a significant portion of his earnings, which were a lot of earnings, to the special effects team because he believed they were the heroes of the movie. And then we got temperance. So, despite his success, Kenny Reeves is renowned for his humility and modesty. He has a very modest lifestyle. He lives life as like a normal person, like I do. He takes the metro, he takes the public transport to work or whatever. He's often seen living kind of like frugally compared to other Hollywood stars. When I say frugally, I mean like he probably has a good lifestyle, right? He's definitely not strongly for money, but for the amount of money that he has, he's earned, he could drive around in a Lamborghini for sure. But he has temperance. He has restraint from indulgence. I'm not saying that everyone that has money should not enjoy it, but on the other hand, in this case, Kenny Reeves prefers to give something to others rather than enjoying things that are going to give you a little bit of pressure for a certain amount of time, and then are they really going to fulfill your life? Do you know what I mean? Like, so many people want to be rich, to get the Lambo or the Ferrari or to get a villa or whatever, but is this really going to fulfill you from within? Think about it. Then we got humanity. Um, can you use interaction with fans, ordinary people? It's really wholesome. It's cute to see as well. This really depicts these humanities. Whether it's stopping by the roadside to help someone whose car broke down, or simply taking time to chat with fans, he demonstrates really genuine compassion and connection towards others. And then we have transcendence, which is about his perspective on life, perspective on death, on existence. These perspectives of him have captivated many people. He's given talks about our connection with loved ones, transcending death, and also the larger universe we are part of. His views are deeply personal, but really resonate with the Stoic concept of our humble place within the cosmos. That's why I really wanted to take Kenny Reeves as an example, because it's someone everyone can relate to, and is a great example of a Stoic. I'm not sure if he exactly reads or even knows. He probably does know about Stoicism, but I don't know if he considers himself a Stoic. But I can tell that the things he does are very Stoic. So be a little bit more like Kenny Reeves if you want to be a little bit more Stoic too. So just to wrap up today's episode, I like to end up with the usual practical exercise, and I would like to challenge you for a week in which you will practice to reflect and sharpen the virtues that we've been talking about. It's not going to take more than 20 minutes a day, so you don't really have to change your lifestyle or whatever. But if you want to take a piece of pen and a paper right now and write it down so that you can remind yourself throughout the week, that's how it goes. So on day one, you will try to sharpen your wisdom. Okay? You can spend, for example, 20 minutes reading a philosophical or educational article or a book. Spend some time in reading, spend some time in increasing your knowledge. It doesn't have to be reading, it can be a podcast as well. The point here is you have to reflect on a lesson that you've taken from it, from whatever piece of content that you are consuming, and share it with someone else as well. It does not have to be Stoicism, it can be Stoicism if you want to. It can be anything else as well. It can be other philosophies too. If you want it to be Stoicism and you want to read more about Stoicism, there will be some affiliate links down in the description of my favorite Stoic books. My very favorite one would be How to Be a Stoic from Massimo Pigliucci. Let's continue on with the exercise. On day two, you will try and sharpen your courage. So identify one fear that you have, and especially that you've been avoiding. I'm not saying go ahead and challenge this fear, because that's a completely other thing, but just have a conversation with yourself about this fear, this thing that you are scared of. Okay, so just recognizing this fear that you have, it will maybe naturally make you more inclined to face it. Okay, just write it down. Have a conversation with yourself about why are you feel are you scared of this thing. Is there like a conversation that you've been putting off, or an activity that you're scared of? Writing it down and then consider doing it. If you are scared to talk to your partner about something, for example, writing down what is it, what am I scared of, what's the worst thing that can happen by doing that. Okay, so maybe tomorrow might be the right time, maybe next week might be the right time. But just consider the fact that, okay, I am scared of this thing. I might be doing it this day, just to challenge yourself a little bit more. Then on day three, we have justice. Okay, perform a random act of kindness. Okay, ideally, you want to help a stranger, someone that you don't know. Because when we help, it's okay to help friends, it's okay to help parents, it's okay to help relatives, of course. By all means, go for it. However, um, if you do help someone you know, you might subconsciously expect in exchange something from them. So you might do it. You might unconsciously think that this person will remember about you helping them, and they will eventually help you back in the future, or they will at least consider you a very kind person. So ideally, you want to help a stranger without expecting anything in exchange. Ideally, someone that you are not going to see ever again. You can donate some money. If you are listening to the podcast, you have an internet connection, you have running water in your house, you are a very lucky person. So you can definitely donate some money to someone that needs it. Also, rather than donate money, you can also offer your skills to someone for free, also without expecting anything in exchange, in order to help them. You can volunteer in a local cafe, or whatever shop needs some stuff. You can volunteer for a day or two. Why not? In the worst case scenario, you'll make some friends, right? So just perform a random act of kindness. And then we got temperance. So on day 4, practice moderation and reflect about moderation as well. This could be eating, spending, consumption of media. If you are used to 3 cups of coffee a day, limit it to one. If you are always on your phone, maybe designate 2 hours where you are entirely offline, or maybe just put a limit to yourself about how many hours you can be on your phone every day. We are probably going to do in the future a separate podcast about screen time and digital well-being, by the way. So make sure you keep checking for those episodes. And if you do really want me to make that episode, just comment down in the comment section. And then on day 5, you can practice humanity. You can expand your circle of compassion. You can spend time some volunteering. This doesn't mean spending a week volunteering for someone. You can also offer yourself to help at a local nonprofit organization or something, a small business for a couple of hours. You see how humanity and justice often overlap as well. Again, I don't expect anything in exchange, just as you did on day 3. This is about helping others no matter what. Okay? In yoga, this is also known as karma yoga or selfless service, by the way. And then on day 6, we got transcendence. Engage in a meditative practice where you visualize yourself from a bird's eye view and gradually zoom out, seeing your town, your country, your planet, and the vast universe that surrounds you. This doesn't have to be a very precise visualization, because if you're just starting with visualization, it's going to be hard, but it's just to give you an idea of how small you are. Okay? It really helps realizing your humble place in the universe, right? So we are done for today's episode. If you found today's episode valuable, remember to subscribe, comment, like, or share. It's not just a support for us, it's a step forwards towards spreading wisdom that can change lives and help other people too. Take a moment to engage. It's going to create a beautiful ripple effect. Make sure you write in the comments your thoughts about this episode, what you think can be improved, and if there is anything that you would like me to talk about next. If you prefer to watch the video podcast instead, you can check out our YouTube channel, Healing with Wisdom, and you will find the link in the description. In the description, there is also some affiliate links of certain books that have helped me a lot throughout my Stoic journey, and you can check them out. I do get a small commission at no extra cost to you that helps me invest more money in the podcast as well and give you a better experience. Catch us next week for more wisdom as well. We will continue talking about Stoicism, and until then, keep learning and keep sharing. Thank you very much.